Muito bom dia. Agora são 3 horas. É PY2EXU, Paulo, transmitindo por São Paulo, proximidades aeroporto de Congonhas, frequência 146.410 MHz, FM no direto. É o nosso Clube de Radioamadores de São Paulo, CRASP, como Charlie, Romeo, Alfa, Sierra, Papa. Iniciando mais uma edição, hoje dia 2, sábado, teremos nossa aula de telegrafia, logo mais às 5 horas, também temas e assuntos de legislação, curso comandante de rodadas, enfim, bate-papo aí com os amigos, lembrando que a rodada Alto-falante é retransmitida diariamente pela internet. Em qualquer lugar do planeta você acompanha aí no dia a dia, ok? É só entrar no YouTube, digitar rodada Alto-falante e clicar no ao vivo. Clicou no ao vivo, estará nos vendo, nos ouvindo, interagindo com a rodada, mandando mensagem, texto, mandando aí um bom dia pra gente, tirando dúvidas dos assuntos que a gente comenta na rodada, ok? Então, total interação aí com os amigos. E também, finalizando a rodada, disponibilizando toda a gravação, ok? Tudo que foi passado aí para os amigos, fica registrado aí no dia a dia e você tem total condições de rever essa gravação, tá bom? Não tem edição, não tem cortes, vai na íntegra, ok? Do início ao fim da rodada, totalmente gravado aí para os amigos. E a gente lembra da campanha de doação de sangue para o nosso Murilinho, ok? Quem puder colaborar. O nome do garoto é Murilo Moisés Ferreira. Murilo Moisés Ferreira. Você pode doar no Banco de Sangue Paulista, unidade Vila Nova Conceição, Rua Alceu de Campos Rodrigues, 46, 14º andar. Ou unidade Santo Amaro, Rua Iguatinga, 382. Também com estacionamento, ok? Então, 2 unidades. Vila Nova Conceição, Rua Alceu de Campos Rodrigues, 46. E Santo Amaro, Rua Iguatinga, 382. Ambos com estacionamento, com lanche, e você colabora e ajuda o Murilinho, ok? Eu já estive por lá, semana retrasada, tá bom? Já doei sangue e vi as condições do local e tudo nota 10, ok? Quem puder, compareça, né? Todo o controle lá de higiene, de limpeza, de troca de luvas, descartável, tudo ali nota 10, tá bom? Então colabore com o Murilinho. E vamos lá, oportunidade aos amigos com um bom dia.
Through 40 meters with the internal matching. I did a test actually with G1ZMA on 80, testing the strength of my signal with the MFJ in circuit, and then just relying on the internal matching, and it was basically identical. So yeah, it works very, very well indeed. One of the concerns I had actually about buying this radio was obviously because it's been out a few years, whether the quality and the resolution of the spectrum scope and the waterfall was as good as my ICOM 7300. And Chris at Moonraker said that he thought it was actually better, and it is actually better. I think there's more resolution with the spectrum scope on this rig, which is not surprising at the end of the day. It costs 7 times as much as the ICOM, even though it's been out a few years. But yeah, so it's basically superb. It's got 2 receivers, so it's got a sub receiver with fully adjustable over here with noise reduction, noise blanking, AGC, all that kind of stuff, filtering. Rumor has it actually that the sub receiver in the 990 is the receiver from another Kenwood rig. I think it might even be the 480. I'm not sure, but one thing is for sure, that receive on this rig is absolutely superb. I've not really done any sort of shortwave DXing with it. It's got a special kind of display, like a pseudo analog display for shortwave listening, but I did quickly tune into Radio Club de Para on 4885 kilohertz, and it was booming in. So might be interesting to plug a Welbrook loop into the back of this thing. Make sure I unplug the mic first in case I forget, and I'll probably do that at some point. Overall, superb. The TX audio you can adjust with a kind of soft graphic equalizer and have a separate settings for each band. So if you're DXing on 40 but you're having a chat on top band or 80, you can set the audio to suit, and I haven't bothered with that. I've basically just set the audio with this kind of mid-range setting, and I've had universal excellent reports with my TX audio. So the audio that's going out is excellent. Microphone gain set at about 60 to 70%. Seems to work very well. The processor also works very well. I did another test and test the processor. 60% is where I get very, very good audio reports. If you wind it up to 70 and then to 80%, the audio becomes more biased towards the higher sort of frequencies, less bassy, more kind of DX style audio. And I did a test, and that was the feedback I got. So the processor set at sort of 60%, just over, which seems to be kind of optimum. And then yeah, so there's obviously built-in attenuation. There's a pre-selector, preamp I don't use. You can set the max power output by band as well. And then in terms of meter, I have it set. I'm using SWR actually, but there's obviously all the meter options here: ALC, VD, temp, PO, etc. So, yeah, this is the first rig I've used actually where I've relied on the internal matching, and that really only came about as the issue that I had with my audio clipping on top band above 120. There is a menu system as well, which I won't go into because that's been done many times before. But I find that although it looks complicated, all these buttons on the front of the rig, most of them it's basically just stuff and controls that you're going to use, rather than have to go into a menu system in the way that you usually do with, for example, the FT991A. It's basically all on the front of the rig, and quite nice, this kind of analog display of where you are on the band. So it's lovely. It's a lovely rig. The controls are such high quality.
PY2EXU, adiante.
You can have them both running at the same time. You can literally turn the AF down on the main receiver, turn the AF on the sub receiver, so which is actually quite useful. It's not something I'm going to use a lot, I don't think, but it's useful if you want to monitor a band whilst working another. Waterfall speed has got 3 options. So speed 1 is very, very slow, speed 2, and then speed 3. So I use it on the fastest speed. TX filtering, etc. It's all accessible with the buttons around the display, which is actually very, very clearly laid out. So there you go. LSB, USB, CW, FSK, PSK, FM, AM, etc. Data, all the modes that I'm ever going to use, and a lot more with this rig probably than I'm ever going to look at, but or use. But you know, I feel quite fortunate to have this rig on the bench in my shack, and you know, it's you know, even second hand, it's a lot of money. it certainly makes the pain less part exchanging some kit, which you didn't really want to do, but you just can't justify it because they're so expensive. The other rigs I looked at was the Flex. I went to look at my friend's Flex. He's got a Flex 6600 Superb and Superb audio, and for similar money, the 6400. The problem is that you only get 100 watts out of the box with that rig. You get a brand new rig, but I did think about the Flex. I did think about the Yaesu FTDX 101, but again, I prefer the ergonomics of a Kenwood to Yaesu. I find the Yaesu overly complicated. Not that you can't use it, but complicated enough that you really do have to read the manual, and I hate reading the manual, I'll be honest. So I managed to find my way around my 480 pretty quickly with some help from Jeff, M0UHF, and it's similar with this. This is obviously completely different, but the ergonomics are excellent, which makes life a lot easier. So there you go. That is the Kenwood TS 990. And it's a pleasure to use. The other thing is that the RX audio is also superb. I can't fault it. So far, I can't fault this radio in any way other than how much it would cost if you wanted to buy a new one. Yeah, it's brilliant. I'm not going to be doing many videos, I think, on the details of how this radio works because it's all been done before. No point doing that. But I will be publishing some videos on with operating the radio, and if there's anything particular that I like about it, I'll be publishing videos on that as well. And I'll probably publish a video or two using this radio on the Harwell ARS nets, I'm sure, at some point. But there you go. It's a beast, that's for sure. Very, very imposing. Once you've got it on the bench, the last thing you want to do is pick it up and put it anywhere else. So once it's in situ, it has to stay there. Yeah, a brilliant rig, and so far has matched or exceeded my expectations, because when you're spending this amount of money on a rig like this, you expect a lot, and yeah, so far it's really delivered. So yeah, I can't fault it, I have to say. And I hope that you guys enjoy the sort of subsequent videos I'm going to do on it. So there you go. Kenwood TS 990 is landed at Oxford Shortwave Log. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. More to come, and I wish you all 73. Have a great weekend. Cheers. 73.
ミリ単位で浮きや傾きが商品の性能にすごく影響するので、しっかり確認するようにしています。
PY2EXU, adiante.
1工程に30分ほどかかり、1台が終わるまでに4時間もかかるので、集中力が途切れないように作業することです。
Uma década depois da maior operação policial da história do Brasil, o alemão tem um novo dono.
Hello everyone, I'm Pascal, Victor Alpha 2 Papa Victor. Welcome to my shack. Today I will be showing you something new. I don't know if you noticed, but I got something new in my shack. The arrow here, you can travel through the menu. So there is actually some basic configuration you can do, like the screensaver, and you always use this when the lights turn on. Then you can use it to scroll through the menu. There is a lot of menu, but like I said, don't be intimidated with this. And then if you go back to the menu, top menu, all the buttons here are showing on the screen, which it does. So depending on which menu you are, so you use this button to do your settings. So it's very easy. You can set up your clock. You can set up your LAN connection. Okay, I have mine in DHCP. That's pretty cool. So you just reserve the DHCP address that you got into your router, and you're able to actually connect to that IP. After all, with the software, the remote software that is free, by the way, by Kenwood. You just download it on their site. So you go back in the top menu. There's an advanced menu as well. that I won't go through all the things, just showing you the basics where you do the setup, okay? But usually when you did all your setup from there, everything is controllable in front of the radio. So I'll just get out of the menu. Right now, I did set up the spectrum scope with the waterfall. I did a lot of attenuations to make sure that I see the activity. So if I go here, let's see. Okay, un instant. Sorry. There was somebody's calling CQ on the other frequency. So you can actually turn the VFO and goes to the signal you want to listen. What happened is I did set it up in fixed mode because, as you can see, I cannot go, so I have to set up the span. And it's in fixed mode because when you are in center mode, when you scroll, you lose the waterfall. It stopped working. So for me, this gets confused. I don't know where to go anymore, so I have to wait because I prefer using the waterfall. So what I did is I did a fixed mode, and then I can go from the fixed mode, and then it's still fixed. So I set up the band. Which I want to see. So depending on which band, if I go to here on 80 meters, you see I have the span that I want to see. It's 100 kc. So then I see, and I'm still in fixed mode. I can go in center whatever I want. So it's not a problem. So that's back on 40 meter. We are in the daytime. Propagation are not very good on HF lately, but it's giving you an idea of how it's looked like. So if you press SCP here, you can switch the scope. So without any scope, when you do this, or when you have only the spectrum without the waterfall, you can select actually 3 different type of meter here. There's one that's more white, and it's a needle meter. I prefer this one. This you set up in the menu that I showed you. But when you add the waterfall, you lose this type of meter. Then you have a bar meter. So we go from left to right. We have the power, we have the timer. Every button, if you hold the button, you go in the menu. So that's pretty easy. So you can set up a timer. Whoop, it's still on and it leaves. You can program this one. You have a dimmer, so you can dim your screen. You can also, if you push the button, you can still make different setting for different dim. So you program the button 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's going to do the setting you want. So usually I use setting number 2. So if I go here and I go setting number 2, whoops, sorry. I go, hold on. Okay, setting number 2. And you can go in which one is highlight. You just go with the arrow and you can add or retrieve or subtract some amounts and adjust whatever you like. So let's push that button. It's the PTT or the MUX if you want. You have the antenna tuner, which is very fast and it tuned very well. And you have the USB cable there. You can plug a USB stick and you can do your backup of your setting. And you can plug a remote keyboard. So you just plug a keyboard. I got a wireless keyboard that I use. I plug it in. And then I can do my setting. Or you can do a digital mode with this keyboard. I didn't find anything in the manual or anything in the radio that will let you actually do CW with a keyboard. So you can do only digital mode, but it does not encode or decode CW. Anyway, I didn't find any. If you do escape, you always return to where you were, but let's keep the spectrum like this. All the other button, it's contextual. Let's say if you press dimmer, hold on. Okay, I'll put more brighter. Hold on a second. Depending on where you are, you will have a menu that will change here. So you see, there's a RX antenna in. I'm using RTR1A from DX Engineering, so I have my MFJ 1026 noise canceller that I'm using with a receiving antenna. And I got a lot of relay go on when I transmit with a 1 kilowatt, and actually the relay will cut that out. And I'm using the RX out of the RTR1A to supply the signal to the radio, the main radio. And if you want to use the RX antenna, you just push here. Now I'm on antenna 1. I can have antenna 2, antenna 3, antenna 4, then come back to antenna 1. But usually I use my RX antenna, but when I'm going to transmit, I'm going to be on antenna 1. So that's pretty easy to set up. You have your mic gain, your Vox, you activate your Vox or not. You have your processor in and out, so you adjust the in first and then the out. Just push the button to have it. And you have the power and the carrier here. You have full break-in if you want, but it only works in CW. Your key SPIG, because for your keyer that's integrated, the delay, CW pitch, and the monitor if you want to monitor yourself when you transmit. So that's pretty common feature that you see on an HF. You have all your mode here, LSB, AM, FM. If you want to go in USB, you just push twice the LSB button. But it should be on the default on the band you are when you select that band. Here, there's a small screen in the middle on the top of the main VFO. Actually, you can set that up. You can have, here you have a button called for display. Then you can change it, and you can change it when you're in digital mode to have a vector scope. And I prefer this look, it just look nice. You have your main receive and transmit, but if you want to do split, you can transmit on the sub as well. Well, it's actually using the main transceiver, but you can transmit on the sub frequency. You can send the frequency on the sub doing this, okay? So that's pretty easy. So, and then you can switch from one to the other. You can even switch the band scope to the sub VFO here, main sub. Now what you see is hold on a second. You see I'm changing the sub, and now I can see the scope on the sub, and then I can come back here on the main for the scope. The information you have here, you can actually select the band you want, but you can also enter a frequency directly. Hold on, I push the menu instead. Press enter, and you have the key will light up, and you just enter the frequency you want. Okay, so then enter. You have the transverter, the drive for the transverter that you can activate. You got a general coverage. There's also something pretty cool that maybe you're gonna find, but you cannot use most of the feature when you're in that mode. If you go in main menu, and you can go in SWL, and then you have a similar type of display that you see on shortwave listening radio. So it's pretty cool. I don't use it very much. So I don't actually use it at all. And whoops, sorry. That's what I did. I did something wrong. Okay, there you go. I'm gonna switch back to the normal mode. And you can switch from the main and the sub. So if you're on the sub, you change the sub with this one. And the same thing here. If you're on the main, you change with this one. You change the sub with the other one, the other VFO.
Agora são 3h29, 3h29. E lembrando, às 5h começa a nossa aula de CW. Hoje aula 41, CW aula 41. Quem perdeu a aula ontem, faz na playlist. Tem lá no nosso canal, YouTube, Rodada Alto-falante. É só pegar lá o material e boa sorte. Lembrando que este é o último mês do curso, tá bom? Aí o mês que vem começa um outro. Cada curso são 4 meses, janeiro, fevereiro, março e abril. Agora em maio começa mais um, ok? Então maio, junho, julho e agosto. Aí final de agosto finaliza mais um, começa outro em setembro, ok? Comecinho de setembro, aí mais 4 meses, setembro, outubro, novembro e dezembro. Enfim, né, o nosso curso não stop, ele vai direto e sem parado, ok? Acabar um curso, começa outro. Acabou no sábado, segunda começa um novo curso. Quem não puder fazer nos horários, 5 da manhã, primeira edição, ou 17 horas, segunda edição, faz na playlist. Entrou no nosso canal, 50 videoaulas, faz o mesmíssimo curso, porém no melhor horário, tá bom? Escolhe aí um horário tranquilo e boa sorte. Outro lembrete, dezembro, sorteio de um rádio novinho para os amigos, tá bom? É uma gentileza do amigo Figueiredo, lá de Capela do Alto. Figueiredo é um grande incentivador do radioamadorismo. É o terceiro rádio que a gente vai sortear, ok? Vindo aí do Figueiredo, e todos os radioamadores poderão participar do sorteio. Classes Alfa, Bravo e Charlie. E também radioamadores aí de todo o Brasil. Não tem nenhum tipo de preconceito e ninguém fica de fora, ok? Todos os radioamadores poderão participar numa boa. Quem chega via radiofrequência aqui na rodada, em 2 metros, e quem não chega via radiofrequência vai pela internet, ok? Vai ser num domingo, Natal, e nesse domingo a gente vai estar aí com a possibilidade de você participar, tanto radiofrequência como internet, ok? Então, boa sorte. Nós já marcamos aí para o final do ano, justamente para dar tempo de você estudar, ok? Fazer a provinha e tirar o seu indicativo. Então, vai firme, se esforça aí que dá tempo e sobra para tirar o indicativo e participar do sorteio do rádio, tá bom? Então, lembrando, o sorteio vai ser em dezembro, no Natal, num domingo, e é cortesia do amigo Figueiredo de Capela do Alto, ok? Então, boa sorte e vamos em frente. 3 horas e 32 minutos. Oportunidade com bom dia.
Have all the button here. You have noise blankers 2, noise blanker 1, noise reduction 1 and 2. So if you select it, it will use the setting that is set up on the pots there. So it's actually using the same one on the main band, and you can deactivate it. But I usually, oops, that's a noise blanker. I'm gonna use now one. You also have a mute for the sub receiver, a mute for the main. You can have as well AGC setup. You have your auto notch, your manual notch, beat cancellation, all that kind of feature. The notch is there. Notch is there for the sub. So it's actually a pretty easy radio to operate, quite actually what an intuitive radio. So that's my first side of it. I've been at it for 2 weeks now, and I ran over the manual, and I was able to get everything I needed, except it took me 2 or 3 days to get everything, to get the plug in the back, because there was only one plug that came with it. I don't know if I have the original box and everything, but I bought it used, so I don't know if the remote connector was in the box when you bought it new. I can't say for that. But I needed to find one to be able to connect the amplifier, and I needed the 13-pin DIN in the back to connect my PTT. I could have connected on the mic connector here, but I preferred to have it neat, have less wire in the back as possible. So that's about it. Hope you enjoy. I will do more review. If you have any question, just go on our website, on laboenligne.ca. Go on the website, and I will make a section where I do some review that you can come in and comment, ask questions. It will be a pleasure to interact with you guys. So I would like to say 73 to you all. This is Victor Alpha 2, Papa Victor, and I'll be clear.
Hello, my dear friends. This is Paul, Oscar Mike 0 Echo Tango, and welcome to the following video about the new experiment I made the tape measure antenna. So today I would like to test this antenna, and as you can see, I found my very favorite place for testing the antenna. I was here a few years ago when I was testing a homemade multi-band vertical antenna, and great results. We have a great view right to the water, and here behind me is the wood with the high trees, and this is the great place for testing the long wire antenna, because I have a place for hang the antenna on the tree. All right, so wish me luck, and I hope that the antenna will at least work. Before I start, I would like to show you my equipment. So here I have a bag or pouch with the antenna, and I bring also the antenna analyzer here, so you can see that. Here is the antenna analyzer, and here is the new tape measure antenna. So here I have this complete antenna, and also I bring with me this screw. I would like to put the screw into the ground, and I would like to fix the antenna to the ground. Also, I have a piece of feed line which I have with me. It's a RG58 coaxial cable with 2 BNC male connectors. And also I have the second one much shorter, maybe a few centimeters long only. All right, and here is the main thing. I have the Zygo X6100 transceiver. I have the backup battery, and also here you can see the microphone, the power cord with the banana connectors, and the secondary backup battery, which is a 3 amp hour. And also I have an indicator, the voltage indicator on the battery, and it will warn me if the voltage is too low and is not safe for the battery. So that is my equipment only. I don't have any other antenna right now. I don't have the magnetic loop or something like that, or the vertical. So this is the day just for test of this new tape measure antenna. So wish me luck, hope that it will work. As you can see here in the forest, we have many trees. Now I just need to find one, the correct one, when I would like to fix the antenna. And here is here's my car, so I will be sitting in there and trying to transmitting. So let me find the right one. All right, so my plan is to unwind all this tape measure to the full size, which is 40 meters length, and then I would like to fix this end of the rope to the ground, and the other end of this tape measure I would like to unwind and set up and fix somewhere up on the tree. So that is my plan. And also here I have the sandpaper, just this little piece of sandpaper, which I would like to I would like to remove the paint from the tape to have a good connection between the tape and the crocodile. Well, it is not so easy. Okay, I would like to use this short piece of wood and throw this wood up there on the tree. So let me try. Yeah, this it is quite a challenge. One, two, three. Great. Perfect. It is there. My boy. Okay, so it is maybe, let's say, 10 meters. And now I leave it here on the ground, and I'm taking a second end of this wire. Let's say it's the wire, and I'm going somewhere there. I have a antenna almost done. And I need to find a good spot for 40 meters for the full size. You can see that all right, so antenna has been fixed after maybe half hour. I think I play with this thing, and you see here how it is looks like. So the fixation to the ground with a screw, and from this view you can see that it looks like a inverted V, but it is not an inverted V. There's the wire. There's not much